of maps and hopefully a map win for the Leftovers. Let's jump to Battleground number 1. We're going to Infernal Shrines. Leftover with the choice. Dignitas will have first pick. Leftovers have banned out Infernal Shrines. Oh, I'm sorry. No, they picked Infernal Shrines. Cursed Hollow, Braxis Holdout, banned by Dignitas.
Infernal Shrine is going to be the first map of the day, and again, with Leftovers really finding their place in the meta and all of a sudden finding their rhythm as well. This is going to be, for them, a bit of practice as well. Just see, okay, where exactly are we? Let's try to do the best against Dignitas in the league environment and translate that into our next match.
Yeah, because if you look at the top three, or the three teams they face off, technically they faced off against some of the best teams here in Europe. Method, who's going through a slump right now, but still a hard opposition, went to game number 5. Zealots, who are top 2 right now, continue to be very dominant in Europe, and now hitting Dignitas. Leftovers definitely having a rough start here for Week 6 and Week 7. We'll see how they handle Dignitas on Infernal Shrines. Let's move into the bans here. Heroes that we need to keep an eye on here, Calidor. Boy, has it changed the last couple weeks, but Stukov in the mix, Junkrat pretty popular, Garrosh insanely strong.
And Tracer is another hero, because both Dignitas and Leftovers have had the hero banned against them several times. And now that's exactly what we're seeing from Dignitas, actually. A Tracer ban on their side. Usually it's the other way around, but in this case they don't even want to go for an early pick on Tracer, and they just acknowledge how strong Blickit in particular is, DAB is on that hero.
And one that we somehow forget about all the time because she's always banned out, Maev. Leftovers, not even thinking about the Maev here. They ban out Genji, taking it away from Snitch. Will Dignitas move into Maev, or do they believe she's fallen enough? We actually had a couple times last week where Maev went to the 4th, 5th slot in the pick when it came to draft, even missed out a couple times.
Yeah, exactly. Maev is definitely falling in priority for a lot of the teams, and that's a pretty interesting change if you compare it to the Western Clash, but it feels that first of all we are of course now looking soon to get to a couple of changes on Maev again, but at the same time we're also in a situation where a lot of these teams started to adapt a lot better, and other changes to heroes like Medivh, like Sonya, prioritize them even higher, and that's exactly what Dignitas reflects here as well, with their first pick going straight into Sonya.
Sonya still strong in the early game, a lane bully, but one that once you get to the late game, a little bit more tanky thanks to that Battle Fury at level 4 you can pick up, being able to pop in those heals. Her level 20s are also pretty darn strong. If you need an aggressive Sonya, you can upgrade her Sphere, which is the range on that. I played it this week. It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah. You could be on the moon, and after a couple of changes of throwing out your Q, suddenly you're back on Earth again. It's pretty insane.
And the interesting part is also that the level 4 battle rage gives her even more camp control than she already had before. And that's pretty fantastic if you play on a map like Infernal Shrines. She can easily take any camp by herself, so that's something that Dignitas tries to incorporate into their strategy.
Especially those night camps, which is actually pretty difficult for a lot of teams to do with one hero. There's only a few that can actually burn it through, and Sonya being able to do that is a big plus for her side. So Sonya is now in the mix. Leftovers thinking about moving into what they want to grab. They go straight into Hanzo, who's once again starting to come back. That scatter arrow build being very popular for a lot of teams, and our support, Malfurion, in the mix here. Expecting to see a Stukov for Dignitas.
Yeah, the two heroes that are being picked the most on the support side now are definitely Malfurion and Stukov. Both of them highly prioritized, sometimes even early bans against them. But in this setup, we have Leftovers starting off with Malfurion, who by most teams is still recognized as the #1 support that we have in the game. But the silence of Stukov is, especially on Infernal Shrines, super powerful, because you can not only work around the shrine, but also after you gain the Punisher, you can make the push even more difficult for the opponent to stop with a well-placed lurking arm.
That, and just in general, that silence makes it so hard for Warriors to get the engages they want. Warriors can actually be focused down, not being able to pull out their cooldowns. The Warrior pull is actually falling down a little bit. Like, ETC actually has a very difficult time moving into a Stukov, so we'll see if Dignitas decides to pick that up, and if they have that silence into a Spear for Sonya, they have a great way to open up fights. Other damage available, Junkrat is still on the table, and Snitch has had almost perfect games on that Junkrat.
I would be surprised if Junkrat is not going to play a role on the side of Dignitas if the Leftovers don't ban him out. But as expected, the first pickup, no surprise here. We have Stukov taken right away. A Medivh ban on the side of the Leftovers. Take a few of the tools away from, in this case, Snitch in particular. But now we have also Diablo. And Diablo is starting to make more of an appearance in the recent weeks. But of course on this map he's even stronger. So huge hit point heavy tank at the front. Could possibly look at a Tychus later on, or maybe a Leoric, something to burn him down on a percentage base. But the ban not on Junkrat means to me that Leftovers might just pick him again for Blick Kidney here and not give it over to Snitch.
Yeah, certainly a possibility. And Dignitas can also think about a Malthael ban as well. Leftovers has played him a couple of times. But I am very curious to see where that Junkrat lands. I feel like we're going to see him a lot this weekend, so be prepared for that. The Malthael would be good against the Diablo if it is left open available, especially here on Infernal Shrines. Being able to split push and kind of do well against Sonya is a helpful tool. Dahaka is still an option too, but we're starting to pull away from him a little bit here in Europe.
Yeah, one of the reasons also why Medivh is banned out is, of course, that there's still, again, the synergy with Medivh and Diablo. And since Dignitas picked Diablo early, it was just for Leftovers one of those moments where he said, okay, let's try and get rid of the combo, make sure that they don't play that. Medivh in his own right is already a hero you have to respect. If he then has the layered aggression with Diablo's Apocalypse and also Stukov and his Lurking Arm, then you really try to get him out of the game. Malthael banned out by Dignitas, so they were also worried a bit about the pressure against Diablo, and Leftovers now have to feel, okay, do we want to play Leoric, for example? Are we trying to play with him? Are we instead going to go for a different setup and use another hero that can burn Diablo down? But for now, they have Hanzo and Junkrat, so it's actually very unlikely that we're going to see a Tychus with Garrosh as well, and we could still see them head into Leoric if they wanted to.
Yeah, Displacement Town coming here for Leftovers. Garrosh being able to toss members around into Malfurion, get that root down. Junkrat just being annoying with that trap will be something that Dignitas has to be aware of, especially that Diablo.
And his displacement as well. So we have actually two heroes that have a huge amount of displacement here, and that can already put pressure on Diablo here. Since of course you can play Leo against him and try to play around Drain Hope, but at the same time Blaze is still open and can be picked here as well.
Yeah, Blaze is certainly an option here. We can see if we get that later on. Blaze may be a little bit difficult into the Silence of Stukov, but you gotta play around that cooldown and see if you're able to pull it off. Dignitas thinking about their 4th and 5th. We need a little bit more damage here. I would say 2 pieces of damage. I'm trying to think what they want to move into. Chromie is a possibility, but I feel like she won't do too well in Infernal Shrines. We'll see if they want to move into any type of resets. Greymane's still up and available, but Greymane's fallen off too for us.
Yeah, Greymane has actually fallen off quite significantly.
Wow,
and that is something that especially for Fnatic was a bit of a hit because they played a lot of Greymane here. But we see Gul'dan. He of course excels on the map, but that's not the only thing. We have a double support setup, so very focused on Sonya and trying to keep her alive, and that should enable her to be even more dangerous in that front line and be hyper aggressive. Actually going to be really interesting to see how this is going to work out.
Exactly.
I mean, if maybe Garrosh gets a flip with Sonya and can put her in some trouble, the problem is, where do you throw her? If you throw her straight on Hanzo and Junkrat, that could quickly turn around you.
Especially with that Poison Spear post level 7. Yeah, typically when you see that Tassadar come in, you're expecting an auto attacker to come in for the 5th pickup, but the Sonya point that Counter brought up makes completely viable in terms of composition. It's just a matter of whether or not Sonya is able to get onto that back line. Leo comes in as that final pickup here, help out with that wave clear, and he's also been seeping up, being picked up a little bit more often too.
Yeah, and in this case it also makes sense. As we said before, if you're playing against Diablo, you want something to help out burning him down a bit, and this definitely works well for them. You also have the AoE clear that you can use not only for the shrines, but also mercenary camps again. So a lot of tools on the side of Leoric, also the double soak on lanes if you want to mirror what Sonya is providing for the opponent's team. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one, especially now with the double support Sonya setup that we see for Dignitas.
Yeah, land those shields is going to be really important. The wave clear pretty good also here for Dignitas on the right side. You got your Sonya in the top lane, able to clear out those lanes. You got Gul'dan who clears it like crazy. Tass, if you need to peel him off and double soak, he can do that as well, and he's super safe. I'm actually leaning a little bit towards Dignitas when it comes to the draft. The draft. How about you?
Was that like a small hint that you think that draft is trash?
Like, I looked at Junkrat for a second, and like my nickname for him is Trash Rat. I don't know what it is because he just throws that junk constantly, and so I just totally toss out the trash just like that, man. Pro commentator, just killing it every day.
Fair enough.
What about you? What do you think about the draft?
It's really hard. Dignitas or Leftovers? Who do I think is the favorite?
I know, right?
No, I mean, Dignitas, that Sonya is going to wreck people, and that's the biggest problem. So one of the reasons why we have a double support with the Sonya coming back into this is that Tassadar is just going to be able to keep her alive even longer. And she already has sustained that we talked about earlier. Battle Rage on level 4 helps out so much at this point, and then if you have the Tassadar shields as well, it's going to be extremely tough for their opponent to take them down. And the tools that they have are there, but a lot of it is centered around poke and displacement.
Yeah.
And if Tassadar gets into range for a quick shield, that should be enough to keep her alive, especially if a silence follows up. So we're going to find out how this game is going to pan out here as we're heading into our first map, Infernal Shrines.
And let's do it here. On the left side, Leftovers ramping up in terms of power, but can they contest against Dignitas? Podibus playing Leoric, Laber on Garrosh, Blackney playing Junkrat, Linked on Malfurion, and DAB will be your Hanzo player for today.
And to the right side of the map, Team Dignitas with JPL on Diablo, Snitch on Tassadar, Wooby on Sonya, we have Poig on Gul'dan, and Zelia on Stukov.
I like how you pointed out the shield and how important they'll be for any displacement that goes over. If Leftovers are able to grab a pick, a shield helping can keep Sonya or Diablo alive, but also becomes much easier at level 4 if he's able to pick up that armor that comes available at level 4. And when you get the range at level 7, I like Tassadar right here. Just trying to find a way to say, okay, you know what? Someone's probably going to get picked at some point in this game. We're playing for the next 20 minutes. Let's try to find a way to keep him alive. And Tassadar is a really good answer to that.
And especially since we're talking about wave clear, and the Storm that Tassadar provides is another great tool that they can use. They also have a huge presence at the front line with Diablo and Sonya. Of course, there's always Garrosh as that counterweight that we've been talking about. But it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out on the first Shrines. In an ideal world, Leftovers would of course start with a bit of a lead here and then snowball it through a couple of Punishers, but it's not going to be easy against the setup that Dignitas is running.
Now with that being said, I look over and see who's playing Tassadar and Snitch playing Tassadar, and that makes me weep a little bit. His mechanical skill being brought down to here's a couple shields and here's a side storm in a team fight. We'll keep an eye on Snitch and see if he lands those fights. Also, another combo to talk about is at level 10. That force wall into a Diablo charge can be pretty darn powerful for locking down a target. So Dignitas themselves also has a great way to start a fight.
Yeah, they definitely do. And again, with builds also, it's super interesting once more to see that with Leoric, we're now having Austin's Renewal or level 1. It's not necessarily the standard in any game that we are seeing, but after the Eastern Clash, a lot of the European teams have started to pick it up as their first talent, taking some advice, so to say, from the Korean teams in particular. But we still see the normal build for it with Skeleton Swing priority that has been dominant before the Clash. So a little bit of both worlds taken here for now. Also, of course, when it comes to the rest of the talent setup here, we have again a couple of stacking talents with Tassadar's level 1 Storm and Echoed Corruption on level 1 for Poig, who will have to try and stack this as fast as possible to get the maximum damage output for his team here.
And that's what I was wondering about Leftovers. When would they start to make some plays?
DAB?
Oh, hang on, a throw into Poig, but Hanzo actually gets poked off instead there, and Poig is able to survive.
Yeah, that was Hanzo basically already being dead at this point. Oh, but talking about things being dead, there's the second kill as Malfurion gets taken out. Great engagement by JPL, gets into range and is able to lock down Malfurion. The silence is there immediately, and then there's absolutely no way for Leftovers to keep him alive. So a nice double kill for Dignitas to open the game up.
That's right, 2 kills, able to get a little bit ahead in experience, and now Wubby goes and does Wubby things there with that Sonya. Remember that level 4 coming online allows for him to go deal with this night camp and clear it up pretty quickly, having that activatable to pop in a couple kills and get 25% extra damage. I believe it's 25% on minions, just allows him to clear so quickly, and Wubby will do so, get top lane pushing right when the Shrine will be activating.
And of course, with level 4, we now also see Kala's Light taken for Tassadar. It's exactly this armor bonus that we've been talking about. In the old days of double support, normally it was all about the extra life leech, where you would try to accent the self-sustain that your auto attacker is able to bring to the table. But right now, you are trying, or you're more worried about keeping people alive here. And that's actually something that also goes for the Leftovers. They are having huge trouble keeping their own heroes alive. This is already the second time that we're seeing Hanzo fall.
Yeah, Hanzo falling now twice. And this basically means that Dignitas can step up and start to clear off the Shrine pretty well. The issue is that Leftovers already has a lead, 24-9, so Dignitas will have to skedaddle over here and start to clear it out where they can. Leftovers are hoping to get this Punisher, though.
I don't think that Dignitas is too worried about the Punisher, to be quite frank. We have them soaking the top and the bottom lane, and they have taken a significant lead in experience here. They are more than a level ahead already, and with the first Punisher, you're usually not able to get too much. So once it's baited over the wall, I would say Leftovers, the best that they can hope from this is to get 2 towers, and that's not enough to catch up to what Dignitas has already taken.
And we'll at least give them level 7, so at least they'll be on even talent tiers, but you're right, Dignitas is starting to run with that experience lead, almost hitting level 8. Punisher gets cleared up pretty easily, and will Leftovers be able to finish off this turret? It looks like they will be able to. No! It goes down to a quarter health, so they only get 1 turret and a gate there as Dignitas defends perfectly.
It's pretty close, and Kidney should be able to take it down soon enough. But if you look at experience here, the same picture still holds. We have level 8 versus level 7, so Dignitas has an entire level lead over their opponent. For the reasons that we pointed out earlier, by the way, we have also Tassadar adjusting his level 7 talent slightly. We have now Psionic Protection taken, and that means that he has increased range on the Plasma Shield. And that's super important here, because once that Garrosh flips someone, or once that we have the Junkrat displacement, putting someone into a pickle, he will be ready to drop that shield and just give those extra few seconds that will, for example, enable Stukov to walk up and drop a Lurking Arm. So super important talent here, already thinking about, hey, what can Leftovers possibly do to put us into a bad spot?
Yeah, to add on to that point, just that talent itself scratches the itch twice. One, you're able to get the extra range, so you're able to save a target, but two, you keep Tassadar alive. He has a small health bar. A Scatter Arrow coming over can chunk him down to a quarter health without even auto attacks following up. So you gotta be careful with that Tassadar, and that talent gives you safety, but also gives you the ability to put a safety net on your teammates. Now, 10 is about to hit for Dignitas. They are really starting to run far ahead here. Level 3, or 3 kills over their opponent. 0 for Leftovers so far. A Shrine will be spawning soon. We'll see if Dignitas is able to find a kill anywhere here with their lead, or at least take some turrets.
The level 10 abilities alone will now enable Dignitas to jump even onto a onto a fort if they wanted to. So right now they will definitely try and invade some of the camps or put the pressure on. So tough situation for Leftovers to be in. They will have their own level 10s once the next Shrine spawns though, and that's going to be super important here. But as we already theorized a little bit, Dignitas is going to try and make some aggressive moves. So they actually invade the top left Shaman camp here. Very aggressive positioning here by them.
Fortybos tries to go around here, but may have got himself caught out. Gonna have a spear available from Wubby. Will he be able to hit it? Ooh, just barely misses, but don't worry. The force wall is here from Snitch, and there's a kill on Lior.
And once again, this synergy between having a force wall and Diablo being able to stun the target into it. So great play here by Dignitas, getting another kill, and that's now 4-0 in kills, and still the level lead for Dignitas.
And with top being cleared up, Dignitas will rotate to the middle lane, start to open up there, look for more experience. Poik has done his best here to stop Junkrat from pushing in the bottom lane as well. Dignitas continues to be in full cruise control. As the Shrine activates, it'll be here in about 25 seconds to the south.
Yeah, Dignitas is doing whatever they need to do here to stay ahead. And they're actually already waiting for the top right camp to respawn so that they can take it quickly with Sonya and Tassadar and then send it on its merry way. Whereas Leftovers don't have access to their own. So there's going to be constant pressure on the top lane against the Leftovers while they're trying to fight for the Shrine.
Leftovers are already positioned for that Shrine, as you were mentioning. Laber and Fortybos even set up in the little bush area to make sure that they can get a pick if someone were to step by, but Dignitas should be a little bit wise here. Won't walk in there without at least poking it, and there's that poke from Poik. Wubby popping the Wrath and looking to move in for a fight, indicating that Dignitas wants this Shrine. Here comes JPL, there's the APOC, they get a combo, but here comes the Riptire.
Lauba is down, no chance for him to survive. Popped his Indomitable already a second earlier when Malfurion was trying to lock him down. So at this point, good move overall by Dignitas. Very well played here. And it just starts to get rough for them.
Dignitas able to come in from multiple angles. Leftovers, all they can do here is just head to lane and try to clear and get experience.
Yeah, it was, by the way, there was a bit of a brain from Malfurion, of course, on his side, but he already had to pop Indomitable just a second before the Apocalypse came out. So couldn't use it then, and that allowed JPL to jump on top of him and taking apart there. And without the tank, they had to back off again, and now this is just going to be snowballing pretty heavily against Leftovers. Dignitas about to take level 13 talents, and they drop that fort before the Punisher even arrives. So he gets one hit in, and that's about it. As you can see on the minimap, Leftovers has spread out on 3 lanes for quite some time now to try and get the experience back somehow, maybe get closer to 13, but Dignitas is now in full push mode. Diablo is still at the bot lane, leaving the Punisher alone for now, and the rest of the team focusing more into the middle.
Dignitas showing why they are the best here in Europe, holding that #1 seed. They find a lead and they continue to keep in that lead. And the best part too is they're not putting themselves in a spot where they can even be picked off. They're finding opportunities for Leftovers that are caught out of position, and here's one here. Malfurion in the middle lane just trying to help clear, and he gets caught out by Diablo into a silence from Stukov, and this fort continues to be chunked down. Leftovers, however, are looking for a kill, and Zelia says nope, slaps it away.
Yeah, absolutely great play here again by JPL too. And Wubby just takes the Riptire down. No chance. The kill against Malfurion was already brutal. And that was, again, a great engage by JPL that we saw. But the follow-up that we had on Zelia's part was also absolutely excellent. So a nice flip into the Lurking Arm and no chance for Malfurion to pop his ult or do anything else. So very well played around it. And for Zelia, of course, with a level 13 pickup, he's now in an even better position to lock someone down with a virulent reaction. So great talent here for Dignitas to be on. but the 16 is going to make things even scarier, especially with domination on Diablo's side coming online.
That's Stukov level 13, man. Always a frustrating moment whenever you see that coming out, that root into a silence for 2 seconds. You feel like you just can't play your character. Team Dignitas will be looking for an opportunity to get kills with that level 13. And the best news is that Punisher was able to push in that bottom lane, and while it did get baited over, it put that keep down to half health by itself. So Dignitas in a position here where, say they were to lose somebody in the next couple of rotations, they can just push bottom lane and threaten that keep.
Yeah, Dignitas is definitely coming out swinging in this first game. And they have now an insane lead. Lauba is trying to make something happen here, but the camp still goes over to Dignitas. And now, all of a sudden, we are having the Rat in trouble. Play Kidney is low. Here comes the Apocalypse. Quick Horrify, but that didn't do enough to keep Garrosh alive. So all of a sudden, it's again a 4 versus 5 situation in favor of Dignitas. And that was, I mean, this is getting really rough because there's just no way to engage for leftovers. Diablo at the front line is absolutely bodying them there. And JPL can play insanely aggressive because Tacita is always ready to drop a quick shield.
Yeah, that kill felt like desperation from leftovers, just trying to find a Diablo to pick off. If you could reset their souls, suddenly you feel a little bit more confident about being able to go in your engagements. But JPL, completely ready to go, gets a catch on Junkrat, pushes him into a wall, and eventually Team Dignitas are able to turn that fight around. And speaking of a catch on Junkrat, force wall into a combo, lights out.
It's absolutely perfect. The force wall drops, and then we see JPL going in, stunning the target into the wall. You get your domination off, and he is just bouncing around on the battlefield the entire time. 8 kills against 0. Dignitas is making it easy. They're moving from one lane to another, and they're just getting free kills everywhere.
Now suddenly I want a bumper car Diablo skin bouncing around, just bouncing people into walls. Little boinks popping in there as Dignitas grabs that 16, starts getting mercenary camps, drying up soon in the middle lane. Gonna have a night camp in the top right corner to be grabbed by Dignitas. For now, all they're doing is just doing their best to make sure that there's no spot for leftovers to find a catch. For the most part, staying near each other. You see how 3 are rotating in the middle, 2 are in the bottom, just making sure that they have buttons to make sure that leftovers can't blind into them.
Interesting move here by leftovers on the other hand. They're actually invading the top right camp and steal it away, whereas we have a big push coming in from Dignitas to open the bottom keep wall. But pretty aggressive what the leftovers has been doing here. So they steal the camp away. But the problem still remains that they can't really fight for the shrine. And once that Dignitas has the shrine control and the Punisher, they are going to push for keep for sure.
Well, that night camp goes to push in the top lane. It'll put a little bit of damage on that turret, maybe, but definitely a bit of an odd pick there. Tacita gets it with the engage on the arrow into a taunt. Okay, leftovers find a kill.
Yeah, Snitch goes down. That might be the opening that they needed. They're close to 16. They don't have it yet, but they have a 5 versus 4 situation going for themselves. That might just be enough to take Dignitas down a notch.
They do have the Entomb into a Riptire. Riptire gets deleted there. There goes the Horrify. Junkrat gets destroyed in that back line from JPL. Podyboss also falling to Wubby, who is still full on health. There's going to be the throw as JPL gets thrown over to the shrine sides, but JPL says, no, I would like to fight. Grabs Malfurion, tries to put him into the wall, but Link able to sneak away.
That was actually a fun engage. JPL darted onto Garrosh and then flipped Malfurion instead. But Garrosh immediately said, you know what, I can do that too. Threw him back to the original spot and let him escape here. But of course, Dignitas with that double kill now in a perfect position once again. It got scary for a moment, and we have 34 against 9 stacks, so that means that Dignitas can at any point move in and claim the Punisher. But at least leftovers have not the same talent here.
What I'm finding out here is that when it comes to the warrior role, muscle is better than brains here. You have biceps, you can throw your opponent, that's all you need to get the pills, as we're constantly having JPL finding his target, even Garrosh trying to find a kill or two. Leftovers and Dignitas bringing the brawn.
Did you just call JPL stupid?
I didn't call JPL stupid. Yeah, I did. I did. I dropped it in there. Maybe he'll play a smart warrior on the next rotation and pull out the Anubrak.
Anubrak is a smart warrior?
He's a smart warrior, man. He followed the Lich King. That's smart. That's good planning right there. You keep yourself alive. It's clever.
Oh! Garrosh was not smart. Like, he was there at the front and tried to get away here.
Did we ever think Garrosh was smart, though?
No, not
Did
really.
we?
But we really have to have a talk about who's smarter in the warrior role and who's not smart, because that's an interesting conversation to be had. Another kill against Hanzo, and that's not the only one. Leoric also falling, and Dignitas, after taking that keep, is now marching towards the core. Fantastic game by them so far. 13 kills against 1, only Snitch dying on the side of Dignitas.
Yeah, the Punisher definitely showing his wits right now, going full smart, using the only skill that he knows to win the video game, and he will be able to do so with the help of Dignitas. They get a kill on the core, and Dignitas goes up 1-0 over leftovers.
Really well done here by Dignitas. Very dominant as well. And coming into the series, exactly like we expected. The favorite going in and showing the underdog how it's done. So exceptionally dominant position here by Dignitas on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah.
Well done by them. And for Leftovers, still a series where they knew from the start that it would be rough, but they are here to look if they can win a map, maybe two. And in order to do that, they need to step it up a bit and maybe use their choice now of first pick on map 2 or force Dignitas into a game on a map where they just feel a little bit more confident.
Yeah, definitely something to learn from there. I think one of the things that they can definitely take away from that matchup is to have a little bit more control over the shrine phases. We had a couple of kills that came in just from JPL being able to go in from the Diablo charge, get that bang on a target and kill them on that second shrine in particular, which gave them a full level lead. So if we get a little bit more control, maybe a couple traps on the side, or maybe a little bit more poking from Leftovers, they'd be able to take that engagement a little bit better. But we'll be getting ready for a game number 2, and we'll see how Leftovers takes their newfound knowledge and tries to change it up in the draft.
Also, I could have seen them, no, maybe not. Like I was wondering about the choice of warriors that we had on the side of Leftovers, if it maybe would have made sense for them to go and play in ETC. But the thing is, if you already are forced into Leoric, then ETC has a really tough time standing alone at the front line. Garrosh is a lot more beefy in that sense. And if you are going up against not only Diablo, but also Stukov behind him, then ETC usually isn't supposed to really have much of an impact there.
Yeah.
So Garrosh did a couple of really good moves, but it just felt that they didn't have the same kill pressure that we saw from Dignitas. So it was very tough for them to get kills.
And also, just to add on top of that, ETC and a Stukov is such a difficult task. You have to pretty much read when that sounds is coming out and try to get that armor proc so you can try to escape. And if you don't, you just fall victim. So you can see why that Garrosh came in there for the mix-up. Now, speaking of things to consider studying, we have constant articles hitting us here on our website.